Good evening. Firstly, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to today's webinar, The Profession of Quantity Surveying in the New Era. I'm Apeksha Vaidya and I'll be moderating today's webinar. So to kickstart this session, it is my honor to introduce our speaker who will be guiding us through this insightful discussion, Dr. Eugene Seah, the Chief Executive Officer of DLS Consultancy Pte Ltd. Dr. Eugene is an accomplished leader and expert in the field of quantity surveying and construction management with a wealth of knowledge and experience spanning over 2 decades in this industry. With a strong academic foundation, including multiple advanced degrees and professional accolades, he is also advocate for digital transformation and sustainability in the construction industry. Beyond his professional achievements, he is the chair of the National Youth Achievement Award Council, fostering youth development in the industry and community. Dr. Eugene, who is with us today, is a shining example of how RICS empowers professionals to lead and innovate in this field. And as a member of the RICS Asia Pacific World Regional Board and chair of the RICS Southeast Asia Regional Advisory Board, he has a wealth of insights to share. So let's take a moment to learn from his vast experience as we discuss the world of quantity surveying and the role of Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, RICS, in shaping the profession globally. So before we begin the session, I would like to mention a few things. So the session will last approximately 1 hour, and we encourage you guys to share your questions and request you guys to stay engaged, as this is your chance to learn from one of the best minds in the field. Now I'd like to hand the floor over to Dr. Eugene. Thank you.
Thanks very much for the introduction. Okay, so maybe before I begin, I'd like to thank Dr. Sapon for the invite. I guess he's traveling in a car. When I was seeing him speaking to me, I thought there was a major earthquake in Thailand or something. But he was he was shaking away, and it's a very busy man. But thank you for taking time to to invite me and for this seminar. I'm sharing with you all today on the profession of quantity surveying, which I guess it's quite prevalent in Thailand. I used to be part of the company called Davis Langdon Seah, and they have one of the biggest quantity surveyors there. And right now, with some of my friends like Seth from Metabil, MTB, they're providing quantity surveying services in Thailand. Now, today my talk is entitled the profession of quantity surveying, and also the new era, and how are we going to be looking into that? Because like all professions, right, whether it's valuers, they have to contend with carbon in buildings. We also will have to be evolving, because right now some of the computers can actually take over our measurement. There's AI to help us in our determination in contractual issues and so on and so forth. The way that we build is also very different. This is a picture of how Singapore builds in the 80s, but now currently it's very neat, very sleek, and there's a lot of context into constructability and buildability. So there's a lot of push for digital now and technology. We are using BIM, building information modeling. We are using drones, and the software behind these drones, like photogrammetry and spectral analysis, or even hyperspectral analysis. So much so that we can have all views of buildings, whether it's a top, sections in virtual design and construction. And this is actually possible using virtual reality, where even I remember during the COVID period, right, we were where all of us was working from home. There was not one soul on the road. Were able to still do our work by using this type of goggles with the virtual reality goggles in the metaverse. And so we put our building in the cloud, and we use this, and we can actually walk through the buildings and discuss. So we have evolved really from drawings, from 2D, for example, to using 3D, like building information modeling. We must also not forget how the youth is coming in, and I think Kunsopon is really working with various institutes, as you can hear. He's behind how to work with the younger generation coming in. The way we collaborate also is also very different. So this is just a sample of how traditionally we do, but now everybody's with laptops. My office is really my phone and headphone and in Starbucks. Very very convenient right now. So many things are changing. We need to keep up with it, because if not, we're going to lose a lot. In fact, I think Singapore has really lost a lot of ground in quantity surveying. We get our quantity surveyors from Thailand, from Malaysia, and very few local graduates are actually coming out of it. The way we build is so very different, by using a lot of precast, a lot of machinery. There's also talk about using robotics as well. And so we have to change. City management, city level building, city level designing, and our part on project management and costing is also very different, right? And sorry, maybe we can put ourselves on mute first, then we can unmute ourselves during the Q&A. Yeah. So the thing is, the world is actually really, really changing, right? Then with the introduction of sustainability, with various type of photovoltaic cells, we must keep ourselves up to date, because cost follows design, right? Not design follow cost, right? Cost follow design. So whatever we design, we have to cost it properly, and if you design with a badly with an expensive design, cost will actually go up. There's also this thing on using prefab or DFMA, design for manufacturing assembly. I just came back from Philippines, giving a talk on how the construction industry is going to change with robotics, number one, two, with prefabrication. Because with prefab, you have better quality, you're building in the factory, you're assembling on site. Costs will go up, yeah, but quality will also be going up, and overall total development cost will go down, because it's built faster, better, cheaper as well. This is my think of how in the future humans will work with robots or in robots. And this is just an example whereby Sigourney Weaver in Aliens was inside a mechanized robot actually working, right? And I foresee in the future that we'll be looking at how we can work with dashboards. This is a game called Command and Conquer. I play this every day, right, to keep myself de-stressed, and to have that to be able to uh, uh, just keep my wits. Yeah. So the way we work, the way we strive is going to be very, very different. So again, with sustainability in mind, we must look at how we change costs, which affect, as quantity surveyors, we look at things like costing, we look at maintenance, we look at capital life cycle costs. In the RICS, we have this thing called whole life costs, and also carbon as well. We look at embodied carbon when you build, and also operational carbon as you operate the building. And this actually brings back the sustainable agenda, right? Whereby we have people, planet, profit, right? And how this actually equate with cost, because the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, all the 17 of them, will affect the way the goals will actually affect how we design, how we plan, and also how we affect cost. There's this portion about resilience as well that a lot of people may not touch on, and that's on how do you, well, sustainability is defined as goals for the future, right? And how do you don't use materials ahead of so we can have enough for the next generation. Resilience, however, is like now, like in Singapore, the last 4 or 5 days was raining every day, and I think we had situations of rain bomb whereby 2 3 hours of rain was showered upon in 20 minutes. We had floods. We really had floods, and water was going into the buildings. Because our infrastructure was not really built for this type of climate change. So having the understanding and costing of how we can build something that's resilient, give a budget on something where there's no design, which means that we as quantity surveyors must know design, engineering, we must know rule of thumb, we need to know, we be able to foresee and see things that even designers don't see yet, right? And give an order of cost. Buildings are also going higher, right? And they're very, very different now. Whether is it so there'll be site issues, safety issues, service strategy or M&E, lift strategy, like one Bangkok is very tall, right? And how do you is there a transfer floor level where you go into take lifts to go up and down, for example? All these have different cost drivers. So as quantity surveyors, we have specialisms for airports, for offices, for schools, for hospitals, for the matter. Even in hospital, there's ambulatory, community, general hospital, specialist hospital, all have different costs. Data centers, very big in Thailand right now. Again, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and also sustainable and the various megawatt. Are you building a 80 megawatt, a 20 megawatt, or even a sustainable low energy data center? So we need to understand how materials technology comes together. And also as part of the RICS in the whole life costing cost assessment, we also look at what goes into the material and then cost the embodied you have cost and then you have embodied carbon, and then you'll be able to know what is the total embodied carbon for a building, which also goes to changing the way buildings are designed, which means that to save, let's say, embodied carbon, you may have a shell and core, then you shift the max box. Today you have an office, 30 years time you take the office out, you put a residential or a commercial inside. So it's very, very interesting on how this buildings and design is going to evolve. We are talking about design for deconstruction, right? Material buildings as material banks. So these are the stuff that the Europe and US are really talking about. It's not catching on in Asia much. And for Kun Dr. Sopon, how do you value this type of buildings as well? How do you value a building that can be deconstructed from Thailand and built in Africa after that? So these are the questions that will be lingering in our mind for decades to come, right? And it's going to be very interesting 10, 20 years in my view. And technology has improved so much with AI and now I can actually do a cost plan. I can even come up with a carbon plan as well and know what is in terms of predicting what is the maintainability score of this building in the future as well. So I spoke about material passport, and I'm quite passionate about this because then we will be able to know whatever material goes in the building, what's the recyclability index, how not only its cost but its function, how can we demount it and break it down later. So these are all the things that we must think about. This is not new. In Holland, in Amsterdam, there's this architect has built this building made of precast timber. And you know what? It can be disassembled and built in another place. So, Kun Dr. Supon, how do you value this type of buildings? Because you know why? When you deconstruct this building and build somewhere else, you're actually preserving the carbon of this, right? And does the person who built it pays the carbon tax upfront, and the person who buys a second-hand building then has a lower carbon tax, or does he take on the tax from the first building owner? So big question, a lot of
เพิ่ม
questions.
ขึ้นไหมเนี่ย 40 คนอะ
Sorry? Is there any way to mute people? You can try to just, because I don't think they know that their phone is on. Okay, so we talk about waste as well. So it's something that we need to take note on to ensure there's zero waste. And that also affects how the way we project manage and the way we also do for our quantity surveying. This is just an example of how we can do program management. Program management is whereby you have like 10 buildings, you know, like I'm currently doing project management for 50 schools. We need a program managed approach on that. So this is it's just an example of how we can do a program management approach. As quantity surveyors, we also must also understand how contracts evolve now with the NAC 4, with FIDIC, and to me, it's well, really the contract is good administratively, but it's the relationships between parties, the developer, the contractor, the consultant, how we agree to work together, and how do we have that characteristics and the nature that we want to work together as one. So it is really partnering, coming together, working together, and everybody on the same table. What I've done in the next 5 slides, is also to extract what are the key sustainability issues that we usually look at for cities. You know, like for environment, and I broke it down in a triple bottom line for environment, social, and economics, right? So environment will be things like solar panels, roof gardens. I'll give you the slide. So basically, cost drivers, design drivers of this is going to be a major impact for cities in the future. Social, how do we make sure it's safe? How do we make sure it's inclusive? How do we make sure that areas, you know, like, you know, right now we have trees that are falling over after strong winds and when the soil is weak. We have to think about all these because it actually affects the social strategy. How do you design for peace of mind? My daughter is 21 years old and she comes back at 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. Well, I have a peace of mind, although I don't really like it. But because why? In Singapore, every 15, 20 meters, we have a light, relatively safe, patrolled by police. We have cameras everywhere, you know, and it's just one example of designing for peace of mind. How do we design for maintenance as well, maintainability, so we ensure there's no mold growth, that it's easy to clean, we can have robots to come in, and so on and so forth. And then how can we build intelligently as well? Now, I'm showing you all these is because, you know, as quantity surveyors or even project managers, we need to know all these because I can give you an example. APCS, Advanced Precast Construction Systems, have about a 6 to 9% cost premium from traditional, but it can be built 3 to 6 months faster. PPVC, right? Prefabricated, pre-finished volumetric construction can be done, but it's 15% more expensive. Time difference between APCS and PPVC is the same, right? So maybe we should be looking at the APCS model, but that means that there'll be, but like PVVC is like you move one block in, right? Whereas APCS, you still have to break it down in 3 dimensions or so on and so forth, right? So there's still probably more transport and so on and so forth. Whereas for PVVC is just one trailer, pump, you have one room. So sustainability is something that we as you know, project managers, quantity surveyors are grappling with because, you know, technology changes so much and so fast. So we must be able to understand how to cost this, especially with city resilience, flooding, especially now it's heat, means that it's getting a bit hotter. You know, it's now I think today is 22 degrees in Singapore. 22 to 24 degrees. It can go up to 35, and on the road it can go up to 50 degrees. How do we then design that it's comfortable and it's safe? I was in Bangkok in one of those days that was very, very, very hot. And it's the time when you put your hand out, you can actually feel the sun burning the skin. Um, and I think it's also very close to the Songkran time, but I left early. I didn't want to be wet by a water gun. But you know, it's because of all the concrete and the heat that's absorbing this solar energy, and you know, it can easily get up to 50 degrees Celsius on the road. We need to know about specialisms as well. So this is just an example of airports where even as a quantity surveyor, I may not be a pilot, right? But I know for a fact that when you design airports, you must be a control tower must be able to see the edge of the runways to see the aeroplane tip. It's getting hotter, so runways may be longer because hot air is less dense, so there's less resistance on aeroplane for them to take off. 3 degrees, 2 degrees difference means that the aircon will have to work a lot harder, and a lot of our aircons are not able to compete on it and have to be replaced. So you see, so these are the things that even we as quantity surveyors have to bear in mind. And we're building tall, right? I remember there's a building that's going to be 1 kilometer, or is it going to be higher than the Burj Khalifa? So the technology that goes in is so different, right? And um, you know, we have this thing called Casion piles inside. That one pile is as big as a small house. One pile as big as a small house to be able to take the core and strength so that the building can lay straight. This was one of my PhD research on how we should be looking at transformation and digital as well. And this is something which I did, you know, to understand how buildings, cities will be able to adopt and the strategies to adopt smart buildings and smart cities. I like to talk also now on standards because while we move forward and we are catching up and all that, you know, we also must be familiar with the various standards out there. ISO 37100, that's on smart cities. 19650, part 1 and 2 is on BIM and BIM collaboration and modeling. There are so many other ISO out there, and I was just talking about the WLCA, which takes into account public available standards 2080 on carbon. There's also ISO 11064 on how to build ergonomic command centers. Now, as a quantity surveyor or in project manager, I need to know all these so that when I do my cost, I know for the cost for let's say uh, uh, a data center that's tier 4 and a data center that's tier 3, right? Or a command center that is ISO 11064 and one that is not. So in terms of where do we all stand? Now we're going to bring, if you pull all these things together, we'll be able to look at this thing called digital twin. And this is an example that in China, right? And you can have a digital twin of a building, of a city. In this case, is Boma, which is a precinct, and you'll be able to look at things like how effective temperature is, security, and this is a live feed from a digital twin to a live feed, and so on and so forth. So this is going to be very I feel it's going to be the next thing in the future. Singapore, we have a few buildings and a few precincts like this, like Ngee Temasek Polytechnic. And why I'm showing you this is, again, how does one cost this? Does one look at how does one draft the contracts for these works? How does one is able to do valuation on this, right? And so I think there's a huge scope with smart cities that's coming in for quantity surveyors and project managers. Again, in my business in DLSC, we're working with companies like Arc Design Build that looks into all these, and they are building all these as well. In fact, just before this seminar, I was in another 2-hour meeting with Hong Kong to see how we can actually build a platform with them for Singapore. So moving forward, you've heard me talk about BIM a lot, building information modeling. There are altogether 10 dimensions of building information modeling. The first is shape, 3D. 4D is time, scheduling. 5 is cost. 6 is sustainability. 7 is asset and facilities management. 8 is health and safety. 9 is on smart and lean construction. And of course, 10 is on industrialization. And you start looking at a that process to plow back into 3D again. So I've included this in my slides so that you have that some idea of how these dimensions, because right now when we carry out BIM modeling, we as quantity surveyors, we are using 5D. For assessment of risks on time, we're using 4D to see the constructability and buildability. To see design when you walk in and out, we are using 3D design, and so on and so forth. So this is just one example of how you look at using 3D, 4D, cost is 5D, and building on the asset. And you can see that this program is called Synchro 4D, right? And it's by Naminchek Group. Very, very effective. You can see, how it's going to be built, how the formwork is going to be jumped, what is the sail coverage of the tower crane, and what can go wrong when the wind blows, for example, and the tower, the sheets may fan in the wind. So it's very, very interesting how this is done, and even the Chinese China Harbour is really looking at this, how this can actually help them be more effective in the work. So this is an example of robots being used in our construction now.
In today's fast-paced
there is actually
world, efficiency
effectiveness
and safety
time.
in spray painting are more crucial than ever.
And this is also something that we in my office we are using with a headgear. This and we have information streaming inside, and so just to give you an example. So that's just one example, and another one is like drones we use. Right? And this is so interesting, whereby I'm able to get my information from the site, and really it's very accurate. You can actually do your measurements. So this we are using this for reclamation projects, whereby we fly our drones, we can find out what's the volume of sand there, and it's really using technology to help us with our work. This is on virtual VR, virtual reality coordination, right? And it's really whereby you can actually build your construction with 4D analysis and using programs like Fusor to be able to look at the safety, quality, and so on and so forth. There's also this thing on AI and using computation, whereby you can teach the software to do design. And this is actually quite scary, because for example, a city planning on the bottom left-hand corner will take master planners 3 weeks, 4 weeks to do. We have now softwares that can take master planners 3 to 4 minutes to do. And it's really nice, and the thing is it's actually quite scary when you think about how how architects or AI is going to be coming to offer solutions. So it also means that we need to evolve. We must be able to look at prompt engineering. We must be able to look at how we can decide what is best. Because I mean, some of you may have used ChatGPT, right? And when you type in ChatGPT, some of the answers, because of the large language model, it sometimes can give you, it's like rubbish in, rubbish out. But how when you ask the computer to come up with this type of buildings, how do you know whether it's correct or not? So I believe that we also must have our core understanding still. While we use AI to make us a more efficacious, make more efficient, but it also means that we must understand our core knowledge. Then we can evaluate all these, what the AI actually has given us. I'm the chairman of the International Cost Engineering Council, and that's like the United Nations of Quantity Surveyors, right? And I'm looking at how we can make use of artificial intelligence in our work. And this is just one example whereby you are able to quiz the AI without prompt engineering, and straight away, more and more information can actually come in, and the AI can actually prompt you and say, can you, with Copilot, have you considered this? This will be my answer, and so on and so forth. So there must be training. There must be training as well. And this is just an example, and maybe something that maybe Dr. Supon may want to take note of, like, how do you want to map the valuation, the real estate, quantity surveying profession in Thailand, or in the various countries that are in India, just do a base map on what are the various topics and subjects that you actually have. So this is something that Singapore actually did over 2 years, yeah. And it was quite interesting to do the mapping. And we found out that, with digital, it had to be something that we had to concentrate on as well. So part of the research that the International Cost Engineering Council we are doing is we've come up with all the, key things, core and specialized understanding, right? So that a person needs to have if he's going out to the market. So this is just an example, okay, whereby, let's say, these are the core things you need to look at when you are studying your, let's say, a diploma, a tertiary level. Your degree, these are the things that you may have to look at. Specialization in sustainability and resilience, something on advanced management. Now, this could be INSEAD, could be Harvard, then digital and technology. I think this is very key, especially now. You see, right now, we are looking into asset management, right? The 6D in BIM. Digital people don't understand what the asset managers want. Asset managers don't understand what the digital people need. That's where the issue is. But for me, for example, I have a degree in smart city, in IT and technology. And in terms of asset management, I've been working in SJ, Sabana Jurong, on asset management for several years, 6 years, with town councils and all under my belt. I'm able to pull this thing together and really then give value for clients. And that's what clients are willing to pay for. So my point is, looking forward, right, we do need to have a multidisciplinary approach. And it's something that we are really pushing and saying that, look, real estate people is just not on just one topic. They have to read widely on sustainability, on digital, so they know what is the inter-effect of these various disciplines. Next up will be contract law and construction law, for example, and project management. So some concluding thoughts, right, is that really the world is changing very fast, and AI is actually coming in. I don't think we must. Okay, that's not the way. We must not be afraid of AI, right? We are only afraid of AI if we just remain where we are. But like for me, I'm embracing it. I'm learning from it. I'm also training it. I'm also saying that I must know more, because then when I teach the AI, I know how to check whether it's telling me wrong things or not. And it's me and my team have come up with an AI that doesn't need prompt engineering like ChatGPT, and you can type more things in. It tells you, it suggests things to you, and even have Copilot. So I was now toying with the idea of should we have voice, so that we can this AI can talk back at you, tell you things. We call her Emma, AMA, Ask Me Anything. And she's now having things on like contracts on it, and it's really powerful. So we need to change the way we learn, because I'm for a fact not very smart. I need to read through many times. So I need to have adaptive learning skills. And so with AI, we can actually customize the way we learn, we teach, and so on and so forth. Educational systems will change. And I believe, that's the reason why I took a diploma in teaching, right? So that I have, they call it the DACE, Diploma in Advanced, I can't remember what's the C and E for, but it's more of a diploma for adult learning. Okay. And this actually helps in understanding the psyche, because you teach a teenager is different from a child, right? But you teach an adult, it's very different again. And especially a working adult, maybe 10, 15 years, and so we need to be wary of all these. So we need to translate our practices into in the AI, digital technology, sustainability, advanced business, all within the way we think and work. The clients are getting more and more smarter, right? I tell you, and because I may have 2 QSs in my office when I go for meeting, but the clients will have 5 on the other side. And it's getting a bit more scary because a lot of our people, the clients, QSs are going to client organizations, and it's the training is very different, right? The core training is not there. It's so unless universities take up the slack, then the business, that means the consultancy, the contractors will have to absorb more on that in. So I want to share with you something on things like floating cities. And this is from I work with some of my clients using that. It's very interesting, and how this actually works, and it's going to change the way we're going to live in the sea. So I mean, that's the end of my sharing, and it's 5:45, and I'm actually very happy to if I can take questions, and again very happy to share what as a quantity surveyor we do, but also the various aspects that we should and must look at on sustainability and resilience, digital and technology. We also should look at management system coaching. How do we work with the younger generation, and so forth? Yeah. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful insights. I wanted to say I was honestly surprised, and it's so interesting to see how you guys have incorporated AI and the technology in your field. And as someone in the technology field as well, it was so interesting to see
Sorry, you're in the technology field?
Yeah, IT.
Okay, cool.
Yes, it was so interesting to see how progressive you guys are working. And then, so we'll be moving on to question and answers if you're open for it. Please feel free to drop your questions in the chat.
Actually, nothing beats a face-to-face seminar, because then you'll be able to present, you talk, and then engage and stop at any time to answer questions.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Seah, for your kind presentation. Mr. Clayton Wade, our board member of FIABCI, any questions so far?
Yes, I was wondering, what is the greatest change? What's the greatest benefit that has come because of AI being introduced into the industry?
I have to say that those that are mundane tasks can be done faster, can be taught faster by AI, number one. Number two is I can't wait for AI to merge with quantum programming, because so AI it's sequential, right? So it's one thing must happen, then you can have the other thing, right? But quantum programming is let's take a mouse. If I put a mouse into to find a maze, to be in a maze, to find cheese. He goes one way, oh, he stops, then he goes back again and goes until he finds the cheese. Quantum programming is you have 10 miles to go, 10 miles to go out, and they do it in 1/10 of the time. That is going to be more and more interesting. And IBM is now working with our students to do that. And the third thing I think is while AI can help us a lot in our work, I am seeing literally rubbish in, rubbish out, whereby you ask AI on certain questions and they come back with, because it's a large language model, because somebody has said something somewhere, it gives you, rubbish back, and it really doesn't work. And I have actually seen situations whereby students or people like come back and you use AI to draft a report, and once I read it, I know it's being used by like ChatGPT because of the way that it's written, and there's no congruence. It's not in one continuous flow of reports, you see. And so people will not know whether AI is hoodwinking them. And the scary thing now is they use for example, they use AI to get information, and then they quote ChatGPT as a reference. I say that's totally out, right? So my take is on the last point is we still need to know our core. We still need to know our design parameters. We still need to know how we engineer, right? I still need to know how to cost, because just in case and something goes wrong, we must be reactive. It's the same principle. Why do we still have 2 pilots in an aeroplane that can actually take off and land by itself? The reason is when something goes wrong, the pilots will be there to handle it. I hope I answered your question, sir.
That was great. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed your talk very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions so far? Ms. Apicha, do you yourself have any question?
No, thank you.
For your information, our Dr. Seah, the 3rd generation from.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
I think that Dr. Supon is saying that I'm the 3rd generation of quantity
I
surveyors.
saw
Yeah,
that.
that's correct. Yeah, my grandfather was the first chartered quantity surveyor in the world. First chartered Asian quantity surveyor in the world. In those days, in the 1930s and 40s, before the war, he was taken under wing by a British architect, and he was sent. He was sent to St. Andrews, where my son now, so the 4th generation, is going to study there, and he did his RICS. He did his RICS in 1939 to 1940. But he didn't get his results until the end of 1945 because of the war. And then he went to build up the QS profession in various countries, even in Thailand. And he was, when he reached Thailand, he looked around, was like, oh, there's no quantity surveyors. And he taught engineers to be quantity surveyors. And that's where cost engineering came about. So yeah, go and read the book called Surveying Asia, and that's by Davis Langdon Seah, old company. And really, I'm very proud of my granddad and my father, but it also means that I'm very stressed because I got big shoes to fill and to walk out of the shadows. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another question.
Yes.
Generation 4. Wow, great indeed. This is a heritage, and is the pride for our profession. Indeed.
No. My son is 4th generation in the school, but I don't know whether he want to choose to be a QS. He see the father work so hard at night. I don't know whether he will choose that or not.
Or may become a pilot, airplane pilot or something.
Sorry, Clayton, you were saying something?
Yes, thank you.
You look like 007, by the way.
Okay, I'm keeping an eye on you. Thank you. I was wondering, how do you see your fourth generation being able to enter into the field? My question, that's in humor, but with AI and all of the modern technology that's happening, we can survey land from satellites, everything we can do now. How much of the surveillance industry is going to be replaced with technology, do you think?
I think that's a very, very good question. And if you ask me, I have to answer this in different timelines, because if it's now to 5 years, the answer will be very different from now to 10 years and now to 20 years and all that, right? Because with AI, the more you train it, the better it is, and the more you open its eyes, the better it is. 7 years ago, I was given a task by my then group CEO, Mr. Wong Heng Fai, to come up with a program that is able to design without designers, right? When I first took up the task, I said it's impossible. But after going through some research, design is based on code of practice, right? Distance, running distance, shape, size, whatever. Number one. Number two, design can be based on best practices as well, right? Those are not in the code of practice, but based on inference on design, what the image can be seen. The third thing is that it can be all the things like sustainability, all the simulations, all can be done by AI as well. So when we put all this into the computer, and I mean, I'm making it very simple, but there was a lot of geometric description language we had to type in. We had to get engineers and scripters together. We came up with a configurator and a computational BIM that is able to come out with 10 different designs for the designer to choose. Takenaka could come out with more than 10 or 15 different ways of construction, letting the human choose what is the best way for construction management. I asked an AI software, please design me a Nike front store in the US with a Zaha Hadid or a Norman Foster flavor. And it came out within minutes and gave me three to five options. These are the things that, it's one word, scary. But to me, because of my background, right, I studied although as a quantity surveyor, but I've done a design management in Reading. My technology and computing, I did it in Portsmouth. Sustainability was in Nottingham. Law was in King's College London, so and so forth. So my PhD was also on cost engineering and also on digital transformation. So I put all this together and said that, look, actually we don't need to be afraid, but we need to evolve. Meaning, if you recall what I said, that the human must decide, Takenaka human must decide, the engineer must decide, the master planner must decide. He or she must be able to see what. One thing that the AI can't do is pull heartstrings, to be able to change, to have that gut feel, right, of things that's actually happened. But means that you as a person, Clayton, need to have that core of knowledge, core of experiences in you, so that you'll be able to make that call. Because AI can only suggest to you, they can never replace you. So if you ask for what's going to do my son, I'll make sure that his core is very strong. I'll make sure he's resilient. I'll make sure that he's able to adapt. His adaptive quotient, his AQ, right? You've heard of IQ, EQ, right? His AQ, his adaptive quotient, will be very high, so that he's able to survive in whatever situation he's put in, and be able to see and discern what is right, what is wrong, even when AI comes in, because AI can never replace a human being, right? And because of God made us in His image, man. not AI. So we must be able to then conquer that. They always say that, right? We must
Hallelujah.
eat to live and not live to eat, right? Yeah. So that's be my take, Clayton. I hope I've answered your question.
Well, I want to thank you again. I really enjoyed your talk. I know everyone else did. And my greatest take.
Maybe not.
Maybe his
I
connection
don't know
is
if you heard my
not one word.
yeah, but
Not one word.
Hello.
Okay, maybe because of the very unstable signal or something. And Dr. Seah also asked me at the beginning something about in the middle, something about the very complicated buildings. And also the United Nations buildings. The buildings are very special, a lot of cost indeed. So what we have to do is we have to consult with our experts. So our valuation is something like the international interdisciplinary approach.
Yes. So, Kun Sopon, you're right. And I believe that as we move forward, we must have an interdisciplinary knowledge. And I'll be very happy to to work with FIABCI on that, because even though I'm a quantity surveyor, I do have M&E architectural. I worked in my heart for 2 years with CNS understanding. I'm doing EPCM projects, so it's very important to have a holistic understanding. Yeah,
I see. Yeah. So thank you very much. So Ms. Abhisha, any other comments or something?
Can you hear me better now?
yes,
sure.
yeah, we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I was trying to say in the last conversation was, again, thanking you very much. It's very nice to have somebody of your knowledge to listen to. And let you know, my greatest takeaway today was AI cannot pull heartstrings. And I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Okay. So I think it's time. So let me thanks Dr. Seah for this very great presentation, and hope we will do together, do something together. And
Okay, thank you. I think I'm not too sure. Is it my internet or?
It's everyone's.
Okay. Well, Clayton, I would put my information in the my handphone in the chat group. If we can keep in touch by WhatsApp, very happy to do so.
That would be great.
Do you see it?
Let's see. I sure do.
+6597649. Yeah,
I sure do.
and if I can participate in anything on FIABCI, if you let me, if you want to, I don't know, somebody that looks at on cost and holistic perspective in building design and all that, very happy to volunteer.
Very good. Thank you very, very much.
All right. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Kun Supon, you're on mute. Yes, there you go.
Thank you so much for your session, and thank you everyone for joining. I think that's all for today. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye for now.
Bye.